Alright. Okay, now there is actually sound. I think I might not have had sound when I first started this. It was on BRB because I literally got on and then the monitor was still on and I could hear the kids crying and I'm like, that sounds like it might need some help. Dallas is upstairs with them and that's fine. But it's just like, he texted me, he's like, I need help because apparently they both like crashed within 2 seconds of each other basically. So the youngest knocked his head on the couch, and then our eldest fell off the coffee table and cracked then hand or something like that on the coffee table. So that required some mama cuddles. Anyway, I am back down. We're doing product photography today. I have been saying that the next shop update is going to be October 15th, but we decided we're going to take the kids to the zoo instead. So I'm going to do the shop update on October 14th. And if that means that if there's any problems, I'm just like around more to get questions answered and stuff like that. Could I have done this off camera? 100%, but I figured you may as well struggle along with me for the Q-snap frames. I'm doing so what do we have tonight? We've got grime guards, we've got triangle pouches. The big bags actually have to be photographed in the daylight because they'll get hung on a mannequin. Oh my goodness, I wonder if I can, yeah, I can slide it off a little bit easier. There we go. Phew. Okay. So if you're worrying about the like sturdiness of the Q-snap frames, they do not come apart very easily. Yeah, so what do we have? Oh, we've got appliques. Appliques can be done, triangle pouches. I'm only going to be on until about 8 o'clock tonight, but I figured we may as well get as much work as we can done. This is an 8-inch hoop. It is not the right size for the grime guards I'm going to be photographing tonight, but I also didn't feel like going out and buying a new one. I know they're cheap, but like, they'll still work. It'll demonstrate the idea of it. The grime guards that we're going to photograph tonight, the idea is that they fit up to a 9-inch grime guard. And actually the ones that fit the 8x11 frame that I just took this fabric out of fit a 10-inch hoop as well, which is good to know. I tested it out with my 10-inch because apparently I can find my like, yeah, I can't find my 9-inch hoop right now. I know I have one, but where it is, anyone's guess is as good as mine. It's probably packed away somewhere still from the move last year. Isn't that terrible? That is part of what I should be doing during this tidy up that I'm doing in the studio, but it didn't really happen. Although I am processing a lot of the excess stuff. Maybe it's on my project. I wonder where. I'm just like, is my project maybe up there? Oh, I wonder if there's a 9-inch hoop up there. 1 second, I'm gonna go check actually. So I keep my like larger cross stitch packages in here. I wonder, cause, whoa, this might be a 9-inch. Aha. No, that looks like an 8-inch. Now that I've actually got it out, it looks like an 8-inch. This is for one of the Disney cross stitches. Let me see. Have I done any work on it recently? Hell no. And of course I've got a snag on my finger, but it's worth checking this hoop size. That one doesn't have a hoop yet. That one's unopened. That one is on the frame. Nope. Okay, but oh, I can't tell. So I'm gonna put everything back just so I've got it all together. I'm really sad that Disney actually stopped producing these sets, so they're actually like Disney and Kincaid. It's really nice. It's a lot of work, but like the Beauty and the Beast set, like look at that, it's spectacular. But like, I don't know, this one I might actually have to rip out though, because I realized once I was like a good part of the work in that had the fabric the wrong direction. It's heartbreaking. Part of it is what I'm worried about is that if I pick it out, like, do I need to pick it out? Yeah, it's an 8-inch frame. Damn it. Okay. Well, that was worth checking. Anyway, what I'm worried about is if I pick it out, do I need to pick it out in a way that I can still reuse the threads? Because there's no way. And like, because they don't produce the kits anymore, you can't get more of the thread. So I'm like, oh, how do I solve that? I think what I'm gonna have to end up doing, might have to rebuy the thread, and maybe I could sell this on, or find someone who's like done the kit, and then they could, like, I don't know, I could get the extra thread from them or something, or I don't know how I'm gonna solve that one, but it does need to be picked out and redone, which I'm super sad about, because it's like, but part of this also is, it's like, I started that cute little Frenchie bag. I started that kit with like extremely basic knowledge of cross stitching, and honestly, I am, even though I don't do a lot of cross stitch, I am more well informed just from watching other people do cross stitch, that I think I would do a better job now. Anyway, so it's like, I think picking it out is going to be the best decision, because, well, and I honestly have to, because it's not, like, the height and the width are different, and like it would only leave me like maybe an inch to a half inch worth of actual fabric left afterwards, so I wouldn't be able to frame it properly. And that's where the concern really lies. It's like, oh, there's just not enough space to actually do that. This is actually a good way to do this anyway, because part of the grime guard is actually, you can like tuck the fabric in, and the grime guard will protect the fabric as well, and then you can tuck it under the thing. So these are intended for a 9-inch hoop, just as a heads up. This is an 8-inch hoop. Still works really well, but basically what ends up happening is that a lot of the fabric ends up being on the front of the hoop, essentially. Although actually, if the fabric is in the back to hold it, it looks like it's going to be happier. Oh yeah. So that's not, it doesn't show as nice as on the like Q-snap frame or the frame, but it's like actually more useful on the smaller frame in some ways because of that fabric. So this is kind of what it ends up looking like. And then on the back you can see like all the fabric gets stuffed underneath, and then you're not touching anything, right? And yet it's a really little hole. So honestly, that's why this is why it's suggested for a 9-inch hoop, is because then you can actually like roll that back quite a bit. And I think that these do work. Personally, I think that they work better on the frames, because like it barely covered the front of the frame, but really, like, it's still really nice. And you still get quite a bit of workspace. Obviously, you're going to have to move your fabric anyway if you're using a hoop and you're using a larger piece of fabric. But that's the general idea for the grime guards. And then how I'm going to photograph them is me holding it like this, and then I'll show the back as well. And actually with these ones, I think I'll take an under photo. Except the under photo is just going to be one photo and I'll black and white it. Because what I am changing up about the shop update this time is that I am going to be putting all the products in under one listing, and then doing all of the separate fabric prints as variants. Now there are a couple benefits to this for me personally. One, my SEO will be a lot better, so Google's going to be able to find me on search a lot easier. And then the other one is that I don't have to write separate product descriptions every single time. Now that I have reduced that workload quite a bit recently, but the main thing is the SEO, and then when I have a shop update, I'm just going to be able to plunk them into there without having to consistently remake listings. It'll also just streamline the site. I think it's actually going to speed the site up, which is really important for Google as well. And yeah, I know, having to play nice with these AI overlords, but realistically, I need to also up my organic traffic and search traffic to the website as well, because social media isn't cutting it right now. So if you're going on the website right now, you'll see that everything is listed separately. What is currently listed, I am going to remain listed until it sells, because well, A, it's easier, B, like I don't have the time to rephotograph everything. Like it's a lot of work, and realistically it's already listed, so I may as well keep it up there because the URL is already direct to that product. So these look so funny. It actually looks kind of ridiculous, but they're awesome at the same time. So yeah, so like if you're working on it and then you pop it off, you can just throw this in the washing machine, Honestly, because this has been pre-shunk, you could probably dry on low. I would still suggest air drying, just because like it's going to preserve the elastic lifespan and all of that, so I would still suggest it, but if you throw it in on low, you're not really going to do much damage to the fabric, because that's already been done a hot wash and a hot drop before to pre-shrink. So but yeah, still always suggest machine wash, cool, lay flat to dry, and in this case you could air dry, but with the elastic, if you air dry, it is going to make your elastic last a lot longer. So the little macaron critters on white. This actually turned out super cute on the white here. It was funny watching people try to figure out what these were at Knit City. I think I had one person who like instantly knew, and it was actually an older Japanese lady who knew right away what they were for, and she was explaining it to her granddaughter, which was super cute. So if you're watching in the summertime for the Knit City prep, Knit City went absolutely amazing. If you're at Knit City and did any purchases, thank you so much. It was actually my best year I've ever had there, and that is obviously all because of my customers. So thank you. I really appreciate it. We've had some unexpected bills this summer, so it's always, well, I think everyone's had some unexpected bills, but yeah, we're still like working through paying for like a surprise tax bill that we weren't anticipating, and also Flynn going to the emergency vet. So that's what this is going towards. So there we go. What did we do today? So it was rainy here today. So we went and we did Costco with the youngest, because the eldest was actually in that place, the preschool. And it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too busy. The gas bar, which we've started using, was insanely quiet, to be honest. We like pulled in, and I pulled up into a gas pump within like 5 minutes. I usually have a 10 to 15 minute wait, which, given that it's like 10 cents cheaper for regular right now, is well worth the wait. The only problem is because we're in Cochrane, we have to drive into the city for it. So it's kind of like, okay, so you drive in, you do your Costco run, and you get your gas or whatever. But yeah, it was like, it's an insane savings just on fuel alone. And then groceries right now are just, if you live in Canada or anywhere, I think pretty much, especially Canada though, I think we are very much being gouged on our groceries. Because it's like, you go to Costco and like, yeah, they've always had cheaper prices, but the prices have gone up, and they've gone up in like the correct inflationary amounts, like that I would expect them to go up given all the circumstances. So anyway, I don't know. Costco has been saving our bacon on that, and giving us bacon some days, because we can spend money on bacon. We haven't had bacon in a while. I've been craving bacon, so maybe that's something we'll get next time we go, or next time I go with Dallas, at least, because it's a lot of bacon. If you are a product photographer, the little like shot box slash booth that I'm using is actually an Orange Monkey Foldio. I've had it for years. I actually supported them on Kickstarter. This is Cracker Cats on Aqua. So that I would get it when it came out. The only thing I regret is not getting the little like 360 scrolling thing when it came out. Although I think I probably can get cheap ones on Amazon now. Like, I bought this so long ago that it was hard to find pre-made shot boxes. It was always like messing around to try and figure out the best best way to make your own at home. And this was the solution. And I think there's other, like Michael's even had an option as well, which I think they're actually discontinuing or something. But it's like when you know that things have hit the mainstream when Michael's has the product, or at least the like creative consciousness, I guess would be the best description maybe for, excuse me, that. of these are going to be a little bit tighter fit. Obviously, everything is handmade. So this actually feels like it might... Do you have enough room for a 9-inch? Oh yeah, it's got enough room for a 9-inch. It will be tight though, and that's kind of the point. You don't want it like slip sliding everywhere on your project either. Alright, there we go. Now all the edges on the interior are finished with the serger, so there are no raw edges. And then it's sewn together, basically. That is the like Coles Notes version of it. But it is serged so that there's no raw edges, because the fabrics are already be splitty enough. I should actually serge the fabric that I use for the display on these, but I haven't yet. Actually, when I bought these, I didn't even have the serger because I was still using French seam on the grime guards themselves. But the serger just means that there's less bulk, because a French seam is going to be a lot bulkier and less elastic as well. Hey, Flimflon. Yeah, how are you? He has come to visit, chirping at us. Hey, sweet pea. I know, I'm taking photos. Yeah, did the kiddos run you off? Yeah. Oh, I know, you are hard. Oh, so hard done by. Yeah. Oh, this one turned out so nice. So this is the... I am also changing Sassy Cat to Black Cat because it's more descriptive. As much as I love Sassy Cat, no one's actually going to get the joke unless I've explained it to them. Anyway, but so these black cats with strawberries on here on the navy are spectacular. I have a softer spot for the ones, the aqua one, because it is gorgeous, but the navy's really nice and subtle as well, actually. And it's going to photograph really well because dark fabrics always photograph nicer against the white background. At least, and if it doesn't, it's at least easier to actually like edit later, basically. All right, there we go. That is all the grime guards. So the next thing we're going to do is, let's do the triangle pouches, or should we do the appliques? There's like a triangle pouch just kind of floating here, although I'm pretty sure there's a bunch more in the bag. So let me just check the suitcase to see what we've got in there. I know we've still got to do wristlets and we got to do cake cozies. There are so many cake cozies, guys. So many. It's ridiculous, to be honest. Okay, we don't actually have that many triangle pouches to photograph. I almost said triangly pouches, and I'm like, that's not right. Triangly pouches is not the right vocab. Okay, so let's do the triangle pouches, and then we'll do the appliques since they're up here, and then that might be everything I do tonight. The shop update is actually going to be October 14th. I may have mentioned that when I came back. I can't actually remember. Anyway, I have been saying everywhere that's going to be October 15th, but I realized that I have stuff to do that day, and we want to take the kids to the zoo this weekend, so we're going to do that. And we're going to do that on Sunday instead of Saturday. So I'm going to move the shop update back to the 14th. The best way to find out about shop updates is not to rely on me announcing it on YouTube or Instagram even, because I messed up the date on Instagram. It is, however, the best way to do it is actually to subscribe to my email newsletter, and then you will get the information right into your inbox. So I'm going to send that out here once I get most of the photographs done. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to also do the purses. I think I'm going to hold off on their launch because they're going to need to actually be photographed on a mannequin, and I want to make sure that they're photographed well. So the wallets and the purses will be launched later, probably around the 20th. So not much of a delay, but just enough to give myself a little bit extra time to make sure that I'm doing the photos justice. Now obviously I'm taking my time with these as well, but there's a difference between taking like photos of project bags and taking photos of upcycled Obi purses. Just a bit. A little bit more pressure on myself to make sure that they look really good. So just part of it. Alright, we got the penguins. So these triangle pouches, if you haven't had a rundown on the sizing, the triangle pouches are really good for like one skein of yarn. Where I had a skein here to do the cake cozies with, and now it has run away gleefully laughing. There it is. This poor beaten up cake, but you can take it. It can also be like a really amped up notions pouch, but there is the cake of yarn inside of it. I don't typically photograph it with a cake of yarn, simply because I want to leave it open to your interpretation or customers' interpretation about what they can use it for. Because realistically, you can use any of these for anything. I do not condone illegal uses for my bags. That's where I draw the line personally. Alright, the little hamsters with the pastel floral wreaths. So the big benefit to the actual like little photo booth like this is the fact that you get a little bit more consistent lighting. I don't have to wait for a sunny day. Yes, natural light photos are still the way to go if you can do it. But like, sometimes I don't have the time. Sometimes I have to take, like this allows me to take photos right now, and it is pitch black outside. It's only 7 o'clock. Lots of time I'm busy doing other stuff during the day. So anyway, that sounds like I'm complaining. I am not complaining. It's just a reality of it, especially here in Canada where it's like in a month it'll be like this will be 6 o'clock after daylight savings time goes off, and by that point it'll be almost another month completely, which means that it'll be darker even earlier, and just oh my goodness, it's good to have a little photo studio. And yes, I do take all my photos on my phone because then I can use them across social media. I am very much considering reviving the camera because I do think it probably will take better photos at this point. The iPhone's been doing some weird stuff on edges where it makes it blurry, so I'm not sure about that one. Still really like it for like the podcasts and stuff like that, so I don't know why it's freaking out about photos, but whatever. My camera still works, the battery still works. I actually charged it up and looked through it the other day, so we might shift back to that. I do need to get something to like transfer the photos onto the computer, so because this one is USB-C instead of like USB-A, which is what all my SD card reader sticks are, so maybe I should put that on my list for Santa this year. And as you can see from the top, or the bottom actually, my next confirmed market currently is Cochrane Made Here, which is November 18th and 19th in Cochrane. I was thinking that I was going to be in the Calgary Japanese Canadian Association show, but they announced the date and it's November 19th. So I've got my fingers crossed. Cochrane Made Here actually does have a second show November 24th to the following weekend, so I guess the 25th, 26th. And I'm really hoping that I can get shifted to that one. But the problem is that I also applied for Royal Bison, which is also that weekend. So I'm in a little bit of a snarl with my dates. We'll find what happens in the next couple days, because Royal Bison is supposed to have application notifications out by November 13th, or October 13th rather. So we'll just see. Fingers crossed that everything just kind of works out in some ways that I would prefer to be in Cochrane in some ways. It does reduce obviously the expenses of going out to Edmonton, but I do want to keep a presence in Edmonton as well. Obviously there is no Gathering Threads / Edmonton Fiber Frolic this year in the fall and all of that jazz, so it's like such a catch-22. And I booked the one in Cochrane having been informed, like I actually asked about the craft bazaar for the CJCA, and they said that it was supposed to be the second weekend in November, which would have been November 12th, second Sunday. So November 12th would have been perfect. Dallas was even home and all of that, but that's okay. We'll see if it works or not. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. Alright, the print on this one's not different enough. I was gonna be like, it's different enough, we're gonna photograph both sides. They're the same birds, just in different positions. So we're just gonna photograph the one side to match all the other ones. And now we're on to appliques. So appliques are gonna work a little bit different. So what I've done in the past is I have gone through and I've chosen what to apply the applique to. This time, however, what I'm going to do is we're going to do just the applique, whatever it is, woo. And then I'm going to allow you the option to choose, like, if you want a black notebook, if you would like a black canvas pouch, no, get up there, there we go, black canvas pouch, if you would like a ivory canvas pouch, or if you would like a craft notebook. So you're going to have an option to be able to choose between these 4 things. I will apply it for you if you would like. You can just buy the applique if you would like as well. Like, realistically, I don't care. You can use it for what you want. You could put on a jean jacket. It would actually look really cool as like an actual fabric applique on another fabric. I should do that with some of these on my backpack that I take to Japan for fabrics. Anyway, now that I'm saying that, I'm just realizing that I don't know how I'm going to photograph these, because I don't want to do, like, it looks so different on all 4 things. So, like, it actually works really well on the craft notebook, works really well on the canvas. But, like, again, I just want to list the appliques and then have a customization option, basically. So we're just going to photograph the applique. I'll photograph all the options, and then if people have any questions, they can contact me and I can send them photos of it specifically. Yes, and I'll put that in the listing. Okay, so let's photograph the actual little pouches and stuff that you can use. And then I am going to pop it on there just for like an example. Make it look like it's actually applied on there. That'll be the example one because it does work across all the colors, more or less. The notebooks are blank and they are like palm sized. They're a good size. They're not tiny. They're blank inside. The paper is actually really nice. All that. Okay, so those are 2 are photographed. Did I get a plain photograph? No, I did not. So as a general rule of thumb, what I'll put too is it's like, don't put a light one on. Actually, this one would be fine, so I'm not going to even say that. Never mind. I am going to shut up. Okay, and these are blank. So there's the light ones photographed. Here's the dark. Yeah, and if you purchase this just to apply to something that you already own, I will include instructions for how to actually adhere it to your project, whatever it is, and all that jazz. Alright, and then the black notebook. And the black notebook is blank. And this is what something looks like on the black notebook. And out of the way. I need to clean my screen because the angle I'm looking at it is like the lights are glaring off the screen. There we go. Now I can actually see. Alright, so there is all that and the examples taken. Set those over there. Oh, that looks horrendous. Damn it. It looks like there's something on it. Like it's like there's stuff underneath and you can actually see the tag underneath. Okay, let's actually put it on the glassine bag. I think that'll help just like, there we go. That looks better. And that's gonna look terrible in photos though. Damn it. What am I gonna do? I could do arrangement. Let's actually, okay, so let's try this. So what we'll do is we'll arrange the products you could get it on. Oh, I didn't think it would actually be a problem to photograph these, but alright. And then, like, prop it in the middle. Yeah, that's okay. That's not bad. There we go. I'll show it to you in a second off my phone screen, which is not going to be amazing, but it'll be better than nothing. There. Although that makes it look like you can get... Okay, so to me, I gotta look at this like, that looks like you could get all the products and the applique in some ways. Maybe I do just need to adhere these to the things, but that's not as much fun. Okay, let's actually take the photo on just the white background. Let's see if it's as horrendous as it looks through the camera. Obviously, I can go in and like color correct a little bit and like make brightnesses and stuff. I just like, okay, there we go. The phone shadow is at least consistent. Okay, that's not too bad. So that's what it'll look like, and then we'll get the photos, and then I'll crop out these like white dots on the top and like color adjust a little bit since it's such a bright like fabric. Okay, good enough. Oh, there's always something different and new and exciting with new products. It's like how, and I don't really think necessarily of how I'm going to photograph something before I start making it, of course, because the fun of it is in the making. It's not in the actual like photographing of it afterwards, for me at least. But that's what it comes down to. Like, and so like stuff like this is gonna photograph really well because it's a little black cat with like details and it's a white background, so like it's gonna turn out awesome no matter how I photograph it. Once I take it in to actually adjust it, it'll turn out amazing. And actually even the iPhone is doing a really good job of just like doing the autocorrect a little bit. The little glassine bags are so that they're safe at shows. So these are called, so these ones that I'm doing right now with the down tail, like this, are called down tail cats. Because, you know, why make it complicated? More complicated. I did go look in, so of course I'm still daydreaming about going to Japan. Obviously, we're not going first thing next year because we're going and doing the Dopey Challenge down at Disney World, blah, blah, blah. But I did figure out that WestJet has been doing direct flights, obviously, to Japan. That's why we changed our whole reward structure. But I found out part of what, like, they offered that absolutely insane deal. Round trip from Vancouver, for, like, early next year, like 2024. Actually, I think it's running right now. Anyway, they offered that absolutely insane deal, and I was like, oh, they've partnered with JAL, which is Japan Airlines. That's really cool. And previously, when I'd been looking at the costs after they finished their direct flights from Calgary, their like fees were absolutely astronomical, like $3,000 one way, sort of astronomical in economy. No, I'm not paying that. Now, but I just actually went in and checked because I'm keeping an eye on prices to kind of see when we'll go in 25, because that's the plan, is 25. As long as everything kind of comes together smoothly next year and we don't have a bunch of surprise expenses like this year, we're going to go in 25. Well, realistically, hopefully I can go with the kids, Dallas and the kids in 25. I will probably go in 25 if no one else. Now we have to go fairly early in the year, and also realistically before the direct flights start, because I don't have the time. Like, I haven't gotten the May fabrics into production yet because I haven't had the time to wash, iron, and then cut and produce them. So at least going in January, it's not that much different from going. Well, it's 2 months later than November, but it's 2 months or 3 months extra, 4 months extra versus going in May. So anyway, back to the original gist, like start of this story. Cat, get your fluffy bum out of the camera. I figured out that WestJet is actually offering JAL, like, so you fly WestJet from Calgary to Vancouver on one of their normal flights. They're like everyday flights, and then you actually can get on a JAL flight from Vancouver to Tokyo. Now, they're still fairly expensive, but it is a very interesting partnership, because when I flew originally, I did actually fly JAL, and then they ended up having a bunch of problems very rapidly after I was actually home, thank goodness. And so they really constricted where they were servicing, and I thought that they were mostly doing domestic flights. I thought they were just in Japan, like, and that's how bad of troubles they had too. But no, they are actually flying in and out of Vancouver still, so that's cool to see. If you are looking for any of the Love Paw hearts on the notebooks, they have to be on an angle. So I am going to adhere a couple of these. Yes, I'm going to adhere a couple of these just to show how they have to go on the notebook. On the canvas pouch, they are the correct size to just be able to go straight across. So that's why I mentioned this, is because of that. If you purchase one to applique, actually, they look better on an angle on here too. Yeah, straight on. So they can go straight on those canvas pouches. If you purchase these as an applique for your self usage, the little paw does have a transfer tape on it, because that's what keeps the little actual like paw pieces, the paw print pieces, and the little paw all together. So that's what's happening there. Am I going to photograph this on anything? No. I'm going to do the adhering and then I'll photograph them later. Yeah, that feels like a sound decision. So let's actually find a couple. I think I've got more cut out on the top of my, yeah, so it's a good option for the dog prints because it's very generic paw print. So we'll adhere that one and because it's cute. And then we'll do the bunnies, the black bunnies. So that there's two good ones for like, so that'll be for the lighter showing, and then this will be for the darker ones. So like this will go on the notebook to show how it has to go at an angle. Neek. Super cute though. So that one has to go on an angle, and then the love heart with the bunnies will go on the light, and then I'll go pilfer a couple of the other like ones that are still on the cutting mat to actually show how these go properly on the canvas pouches. Properly. That's still cute. So that's, if it's cute, it's proper. Okay, so we'll set those ones aside and we'll not photograph them and put them up individually. I will keep that parasols one aside for now, just so that I can get the stock photos essentially for how it's going to show up on the different stock. Super cute little navy with pink and purple florals. This is Uptail Cat. Pretty straightforward. It has an uptail. I don't know. I'll show you it on the bag actually. So Uptail. That's some of the OG fabric, which is super cool to see. Okay, that's another little love heart. I'll still photograph them now because if I don't photograph them now, I never will. And then they'll just sit and languish until the next show, and no one will be able to get any of the appliques because I will have hesitated. Go. Little down-tailed cat. So these will all be listed in their respective, like, so uptail cats will all be together, down-tailed cats will all be together, arrow, love hearts will all be together, blah, blah, blah. and that's how they'll be organized. And then you'll have the option of purchasing by itself, or then also purchasing with a canvas pouch in like off-white black, or in a notebook, on a notebook. And if you purchase it with those, I will apply the applique myself before I mail it out. That'll all be explained in the listing. The next shop update has been moved. I originally said on all my videos and my current like social media correspondence that it was supposed to be October 15th, but we've changed plans for the weekend and it's going to be October 14th. I forgot about an appointment that I have on Saturday, and so it actually just works out better for me to do it on the Saturday, and then we have all day Sunday to go to the zoo, which is what we changed our plans for, is to go out with the kids. And basically what that means is that if I do the update on the 14th, then I can be around if there's any questions or concerns, or like stuff wasn't shipping out of my shop properly, because I hadn't updated one thing on Shopify when we moved last year. So like I spent the whole summer only getting pickup orders, and like, I want to buy this thing DMs, and no like online shipping orders because it wasn't shipping. I don't even remember what setting it was, but it was just like one setting of like, you're still at the old address. All your stock is still at the old address, or something. I think it's that all the stock was at the old address, not the new address. So I couldn't fulfill from the new location, and so it's like, well, we don't ship to this location from that location, or something. I don't know. Some sort of technical BS where it's like, I love technology, but that's the sort of thing that makes me hate it. I should have clued in sooner, because I had someone who like bought stuff in Edmonton in November, and she's like, but it says it doesn't ship to Edmonton. And I'm like, I know for sure I ship to Edmonton. And then someone was like, it doesn't ship to BC. And I'm like, I have shipped to BC, so what is the actual F is going on? Yeah, it was dumb. It was just a dumb mix-up. So we got it resolved, I think. I hope. But if there's anything like that, I have a chat on the shop. Please message me, or message me through Instagram or whatever, and I will get it resolved like ASAP. But that is why we're going to shift it back, so that I can actually pay attention to the shop that morning. So it's going to be going live. All of this stuff is going to be going live. I am going to move out the purses and wallets, just so I have a little bit more time to process those photos and get them taken. Considering that I'm 3 days out right now and still taking photos of all this stuff, all the smaller stuff, I want the extra time with the purses, because they're going to go on like a mannequin and get a nice... The obi deserve a little bit, like, all of this stuff deserves respect, but the obi especially, to me, deserve a little bit more respect even than this stuff. Like the cottons and the new fabrics. There we go. Let's go with just new fabrics. Because even if it's like all of the ones that I buy are secondhand, and even if they're new, someone somewhere has taken a lot of time to like hand weave it, and or embroider and or paint, and so they need a little bit more time for me to process and like actually take good photos of them. So those will follow. So all of this will go up on the 14th, and then those will follow probably on the 20th. But you can still view them actually in the shop update video that I posted the other day on YouTube. It is 2.25 hours. I know. Probably what I should do is go in and actually do some like timestamps. Or I might go through and I might just actually post the broken up ones. I haven't decided completely yet. Let's figure something out. But yeah, I know that video is really long. So I think what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll put some timestamps on it, because that feels like the most efficient way for everyone to be able to just like go in, view it, and view the bits that they want. But we do have, I think it's something like 23 Kato, 23 large box bags, and some other products going up. We've got cake cozies, we've got these appliques, we've got very few notions pouches, needle stashers, and what's the other thing we have? Cake cozy, lots of cake cozies. Selection of knot bags, stuff like that. This one's super cute. Little black cat on a checkerboard. Gotta remember that I'm not calling them Sassy Cat anymore. They're getting called Black Cat, which does make more sense overall. This one's also really good. This one reminds me of Remy. I miss Remy. But that little face with the like little almost kind of shocked expression always reminds me of Remy. Good. Look. Bandana cats. I call it that because of the paisley. Yeah, I did. So we did really well in the city. I very much appreciate you all. I really appreciate your support of Paula and Rebecca out there as well, because of course I sell to Bad Anna's and Bad Rabbit. All of their stock is currently now stocked. I just saw Rebecca of Bad Rabbit post about it. So thank you for your support of them. If there's something that you saw over the summer that isn't in this shop update, it's very likely that it went to Paula or Rebecca. So go shop their websites. That's my best suggestion. Of course, because we love to support each other. And then thank you for all the support in my booth as well. You guys blew me away this year. Next year we are in Calgary. I think August something. I think it's like 16th to 18th. I will be there with bells on. I'm super excited to have an event back in Calgary of this scale. I'm also very excited to sleep in my own bed, truth be told. And again, it's a whole factor of like, it does mean that there's a lot less expenses just simply because I don't have to pay for a hotel room. So a local event is always going to be better. Well, that's not true, but it's more likely to be better. Less expenses out at least. So I also think that Calgary is 100% primed for an event, and I'm super excited because Knit City always does an amazing job with their organization. I'm excited to see who they bring in for teachers because like they get some amazing teachers. This year, so I didn't know who she was before I actually went for the lecture, keynote lecture on Friday night, but Cecilia Campicino, I think. Oh, there's a split up there. I think that was her name. I know the first name was Cecilia, and I think the last name was Campicino, something along those lines. And she does a lot of work in sequential knitting and also like marling. And she brought up Avril yarns out of Kyoto, and I bought Avril yarns and like bought it with the intention of weaving with it, never wove it. I'm not going to weave it. I'm actually downsizing all my weaving stuff because I just never took the time, and that's fine. I have a friend who weaves or is like learning to weave, and so she's getting a lot of my stuff. And that's perfect. But anyway, but I wanted to hold on to this yarn because it was from my first trip with Dallas to Japan with like adult money on top of it. And I was like, what the actual F do I do with this? Like, what do I do with this yarn? It's too thin to knit by itself, all of this. And then in her lecture, she's like, yeah, you marl it with your other yarn. And I'm like, oh my God, of course that's what you do. So I saw her on Sunday and I'm like, thank you, because I bought this yarn and then I didn't know what they have to do with it. And then I was in your lecture and you just like I was the head explosion emoji. It's like a mind-blowing moment. And I was like, okay, I actually found it the other day, so now I know what I'm going to do with it once I find it again. I don't know how many people actually saw the reel on Instagram, but I tidied up this whole cutting studio. It was tidy. Like a few things on the desk, but like mostly it had a home. It was just up so that I could vacuum and like clean the spots that needed to be cleaned. Because we didn't actually clean this carpet when we moved in. Long story short, this was supposed to be a bedroom, and we were actually supposed to pull up all the carpet. We decided not to spend the money on that, and that's fine. But we also, because we were going to pull the carpet up, we didn't clean it. So it needs a clean. It was disgusting. I only cleaned the back part right here, and it was so bad. So I gotta clean it. I gotta clean it again. But anyway, it was clean enough. It like a few things on top of the desk that had homes once the floor was vacuumed and dried. And Then I came in and I was like, so that I finished that on Thursday night because the thought process was I'm going to record my videos on Friday when both the kids are in childcare, because of course you can't really, like, it's hard to record video with kids around. At least any video that's like worthwhile and doesn't take a million years to edit. Or me like recording it and then having to voice it over later. So I was just able to talk to the camera. That's what happened. But I looked in my room because of course once I did the actual previews, I did the preview for the May fabrics, I did the preview for the like products, and then I walked in and I looked in and I'm like, it doesn't even look like I tidied up this room. So I don't know if you've been watching Instagram Reels or TikToks for a while. It was like last year, the big one was you snapped and like the room tidied itself up. And so I riffed on that because I was like, snap, and then the room wasn't tidy and it's still making me laugh. Anyway, if you want to live in my head for 7 seconds, that was the reel that is still making me giggle right now. Because it does look like a bomb went off in here again. Or torn. It's like, yeah. It looks like I've been busy. And that's good too. Because if it's tidy, that means that I'm not busy enough. True story. But I do need to get tidied up in the actual sewing studio. Because we are going, like... So when we moved... And I'm sorry if I've already told this story. Or if you've sat through this story with my lives over the summer. But when we moved in, like, we have a walkout basement now. My studio in the past was in the basement, so that made sense. We'll move the studio into the basement. That's fine. But Dallas was going to have his office down here as well. Okay, cool. That's fine. And, like, the kids will have a little, like, sitting area because that makes sense, so they can watch TV and basically be in TV daycare while I'm working. And I actually right now I have a line of sight on them. However, last year my cutting table was actually out in the sewing studio as well, because this room here, we would store the fabric here in this room. It's a bedroom. My yarn was in the closet back here, and we would actually have a guest bedroom. We don't have people stay over. Too many of our friends are allergic to cats, so it's just kind of like ixnays that like ability to have people over or to have them stay. They also have like their own responsibilities. They have dogs and all pets, all of that. So we cleaned up this bedroom and I'm like, okay, this is becoming a cutting studio. Perfect. Awesome. That works. Because the nice thing is, and I did actually stick to it mostly, like 95% was that if the cutting table is in the cutting room and we just leave it as the cutting room, I will put the fabric away as I cut it into the shelves. The shelves are over there. That's why I keep pointing over there. And actually I stuck to that, so it's exactly what it needed to be. And then like underneath I've started a bin system, so when I cut stuff, it's like, okay, this goes in the large box bag bin. Perfect. Kato bin. Perfect. I need to actually label the bins, and that is like the next step that will make that system near perfect. Actually I need to label the bins, and then I need to label the lids so that when I put the lids on it, I can just, and then I come to cut, I can just like open up the lid that whatever the like products are supposed to go into. Anyway, that's like, these are details at this point. And then what else changed? Oh yeah, Dallas moved his office out of the basement. And so between Dallas moving his office out of the basement and us deciding to move the cutting table in here, I now have like a completely different setup than I started with last summer. And so it's just like, I'm still on a very steep learning curve right now about what I want to put, like where everything is going and what we're doing. And it's just like, I'm also working with half the space. I've mentioned this before. It's like moving to this house has been really, really, really good for like our outdoor activities. We've spent more time outside. Well, we've spent more time outside. We moved at the beginning of May last year when it was still crappy weather. We had an absolutely horrendous October last year. October? September? I think it was October. But it was like, it hit like -20 in October. And then it warmed up. But between like the end of May, when it actually got nice, and the end of September, 4 months, we spent more time outside in this house than we spent at our old house. So, like, good move overall that way. Horrendous move for the studio because of the space. It's also just learning how to, like, optimize my space, because realistically in the old place I just everything everywhere, which isn't good. So we moved in with a different plan, and the plan has changed, and now I'm still trying to figure out exactly where everything is going. But the big move that we're going to be making is I got a big, like, 6-foot shelf, and basically we're going to switch it and my sewing machine. So my sewing machine, so I'm facing the wall that's going to go against. It's going to go perpendicular to the fabric wall that's, like, in front of me. And then we're going to actually, because I moved the Obi shelf out of here, I put the Obi into the yarn closet. The yarn went into the storage room because I needed to clear this up so I have better walking space around the whole of the, what is this? The cutting table. I needed more space around the cutting table, so I wanted to move the calyx out of here, and I moved it out into that room. I still don't know what I'm doing with it out there completely. I need to figure out, like, if I'm going to, I don't know. It's holding the steam press and the iron right now, which is also kind of helpful, and, like, stuff like that. But I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to do out there. We're also going to update my ironing table eventually to allow me to actually iron the whole yardage on it. So basically it's called a quilter's ironing top, and it will square off or round off my actual ironing table, and so I'll be able to spread the whole 42-inch selvage out, like selvage, and just be able to iron it. I did actually get a basically secondhand piece of plywood the other day from a neighbor up the road. It's not perfect, but it's better than buying a piece of plywood right now. And then you cover it with cotton batting and cotton canvas, and so that's a project that we need to do in the next few weeks, especially as I'm coming up into ironing all that fabric again. I want to show you this. So these guys are needle stashers, but the fabric is a little bit thinner because I use a different interfacing. So in this case they are going to have plastic snaps. Most of the time I use the metal snaps. Honestly, I think these went through easier, and so I might switch them all to plastic snaps later on. They're also very satisfying. I don't know, that's just a very satisfying sound, especially the proper, like, snap. Back up. Anyway, so this is a needle stasher. What you do is you take your DPNs, and these two are, oh, here, sorry, I'm like, the phone is on the microphone. It is not right now. Anyway, so it's got 3 snaps because basically my thought process is your project goes in between these 2 snaps here, and then this one is an extra little, like, doohickey, so that if you're using magic loop, you can keep your circulars in here as well. So if you're using magic loop, there's a couple tricks to it. So you put your project into here, in between the 2 that are further apart, and then your needles go all the way up here. You snap this one, you snap this one, and then you wrap your cord up under this one here, and you snap it there as well, just so everything's nice and tidy. So that's how I typically suggest using a needle stasher. You can also use it for DPNs, so the same idea still applies, in that this will hold your DPNs with your project on it, and then you can just ignore this 3rd snap unless you've got long DPNs, in which case that'll help hold everything up. These are really good if you just want to stuff your needles in something and you don't want to use, like, needle point protectors, or you're constantly losing, like, the needle point protectors and stuff like that. These will also help with needle puncture through, like, zippers and bags and everything like that, because it's an extra layer, and since the points are going to be in, like, a really thick part with all the seams, it's very unlikely that they'll poke through. So that is the rundown on the needle stasher. This is some OG fabric as well. It's been sitting around for a while because I haven't installed the snaps on it. But yeah, I'm actually thinking that maybe I need to switch to the plastic snaps. I don't like using a lot of plastic, but in this case it's like, it's not single use, and I think it actually applied better than my metal snaps do typically. And that snap, it's just such a good snap. Okay, I'll stop rhapsodizing about needle stashers. We did all the appliques. The big bags can't be done tonight because they've got to actually hang on something like a door with natural light coming in on them. I actually do need to figure out where I'm photographing them in this house, because there hasn't been a lot of big bag making since we moved. I also have crossbody straps. We do have crossbody straps. There's like dark brown, there's black, there's light gray, there's sand, yellow, red, blue, pink, and teal. I think the only color that I skipped was purple. But again, these will be photographed on an actual like something to figure it out. These I will photograph before the update because they go typically with the Kato. And then if you weren't here for that earlier, if you watch the actual preview, product preview, I'm going to photograph the purses and wallets after all of this, just so I can give them the time and energy that they deserve. So I'm looking at probably extending their shop update out to about the 20th. But that, all of this, I'm going to update actually in the email newsletter. That is the best way to get these updates. Because obviously I had previously said that all my updates are also going to be happening on October 15th, but that changed. So we're going to do October 14th as well, just so I'm around in case there's any mishaps. Like shipping not working, which is what was happening earlier, like last summer. Let me grab the cake cozies, and I think we got cake cozies, wristlets, and then we've got all the little like stitch markers, which I still haven't decided how I'm going to photograph. One second. Okay, we got one more knot bag. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can just lift this up without destroying everything. And if you saw my awesome flannel jammy bottoms, yes, I am in my PJs because it is cold here today. I went for my run and my workout, and then I was like, you know what? I am just gonna get in my PJ bottoms because I am staying in the house for the rest of the day. So who cares? All right, here we go. So we've got other needle stashers. So see, this needle stasher has. I don't know why this one only has two, but it only has two. But they're the metal snaps. And so they still work really well, but I do think the plastic works better now that I've done both. Oh, especially since that one just fell apart. So yeah, we're switching to the plastic snaps. I will be going probably with can snaps because they're a small family-owned business out of California. They are like the end-all, be-all for cloth diapers and everything like that, and they have really good customer service. I've ordered from them in the past. They're actually who I used to purchase the magnetic snaps from, which are going into like the purses and the wallets and all of that. And I've heard really good things about them. I've had no problem with them yet, and I've heard that if you haven't like any difficulties, they're even better. Okay. Dallas just said that the kiddos are getting hungry, but I don't want to abandon you guys quite yet. So let me just text them and let them know. I'm going to wrap up maybe here a little bit longer. Okay. Actually, yeah. I just realized that taking all of those tags off those cake cozies are going to take a little while, but that's okay. So this can actually just go back down here. I'll give you a rundown on the actual wallets though, if I can find them. I think they're in the back here. One moment. Nope, those are bookmarks to be made. I think there's one down here. Oh yeah, they're in the suitcase. One second. Alright, so this is the general idea of what you're gonna see for the wallets. So most of them, this is the only cotton linen blend. The rest of them are actually obi wallets. So they'll be the upcycled obi lined with kimono fabric. And then these are the interior. So there'll be 12 card slot pockets, 6 on each side. There'll be an actual like billfold slip pocket in the back. And then there'll be a coin purse here. They're riveted on the side so that there's no way these are coming apart. And this is actually the style that I'll be using going forward, is that card slots and the actual interior will be contrasting. And then the divider pocket and these little coin pouches are going to be matching the exterior fabric. And the underneath of the exterior flap will always match the exterior. Unless it's like, I said that and then I realized that the obi ones are mostly lined in kimono. But I will note that. Those are some of the few products that will still probably be listed separately just because they are so vastly different. And then the purses. So this is why I want to take the time to sit down with these or stand up with these, whatever you want to call it. But I want to take the time to actually photograph them correctly and with like care, because like that is spectacular. This is an upcycled obi. It's got upcycled obi on the sides, and then the body of it is actually canvas. It'll have a black leather crossbody strap, and then the interior of this one is actually lined in Indonesian batik, but the rest of them are lined either in obi or in kimono. So that's why I want to take a little bit more time with them, but they will be out not too far off. Okay, let me just text Dallas and let him know that we are currently busy. So there's apparently one more small grand guard. We also have some row counters from Nirvana. And then we've got some bookmarks. Some wristlets with like a little keychain. And then this is silver, so it doesn't actually match all of these. But the idea of it is the lobster clasp will be easier to put onto like zippers or your keys. Or you can still use the key ring as well. Obviously, you can always take the lobster clasp off if you'd like. I just figured that it made it a little bit more usable as an actual wristlet. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to run until at least about 8:30. I just gave him a heads up. So he's going to give them a snack and like bath time and everything like that. So let's continue on with this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I always like answering questions because stream of consciousness streams sometimes are really fun, but honestly answering questions is more funner. Oh dear. Okay, so we're gonna leave cake cozies for last, mostly because I don't want to have to take all these tags off. It's the weirdest things that hang me up on taking product photos. But considering that like scrunchies and bookmarks and wristlets don't have tags, it's a lot easier. If this is the first time you've encountered me, I make products, so bags and accessories from hand-selected Japanese fabrics. If this is not the first time you've encountered me, welcome back. Thank you for joining again. What we're currently doing is we are doing the shop update photographing for or from Knit City. So this is everything that was left over from sales at Knit City. I've basically spent the majority of the summer prepping for that event, and so now we've got all the fruits of my labor for after, which is super awesome. There's two smaller grime guards. Okay, so we'll start. There we go. We've got a bunch of scrunchies. So that's what I mean by like bags and accessories, is it's like no longer just bags. However, the main market previously has been knitters, which has been amazing. But I'm trying to expand a little bit more into like a broader market, just to expand my audience as well. I am in Cochrane, Alberta, Canada, and I guess I may as well give you the Coles notes of why I go to Japan for my fabrics. So originally I started making project bags just after I left university, graduated with an English degree, but I had gone to exchange in Japan in university for a year, and I lived halfway between Osaka and Kyoto. I lived in Hirakashi at Kansai Gaidai. That's where I studied, and so that's the important part here. Not the English degree, not the fact that I did my honors. I did do an honors project in Beauty and the Beast, and like basically studying gender roles in Beauty and the Beast. It was a really good project. Still like one of my proudest moments. I actually got onto Dean's List my last term because of my honors project, so I'm quite proud of that still. But the thing that's been most influential has been my exchange to Japan. And thinking back on it now, and again, I might be repeating stories, but they're good stories, I think. Looking back on it now, one of the questions that they asked when I went on exchange was, like, you've got 2 Japanese universities and then you've got Edinburgh. Like, why? And it's like, well, because I'm an English major, so it's like my top choice is to go to Japan, but realistically, I just want to go on exchange, so Edinburgh is the most useful for my degree. So, like, send me anywhere, basically. But I actually did get into my top choice university. I chose Kansai Gaidai because I didn't really know a lot about Japan. I think I chose, it was like Kansai and then Waseda, which was up in Tokyo, and then Edinburgh because I just want to go on exchange. I don't really care otherwise. Japan is top choice. But it actually worked out really well. I actually really liked the Kansai area. There's a lot of history, obviously, in Kyoto and Osaka as well. I met, like, a lot of my connections that I'm still connected to are from that exchange. And all that. It just worked out really well. I don't know if I would have enjoyed Tokyo as much. I don't think it would have suited me as much. Anyway, I came back. I started at Home Depot. Absolutely horrendous cashier job. Like, horrendous. Worst job I've had. And that's saying something considering that I also quit the next job. But I started selling projector lamps. So basically you can replace the lamp that you have in like an overhead projector and or PTV. So like that's how you replace the bulbs. I was selling the bulbs. So this also, by the way, this is how you use a bookmark on these ones. Well, obviously you put it in the book, but there it is on there just as a demonstration. Anyway, so I quit my job just before we actually moved up to Cochrane, in part because I didn't want to, one manager came back to the office and just basically ruined the whole experience. And then I moved up to Cochrane as well, and it didn't pay enough really to commute at that point. And it was just a better decision all around to start to put the full-time effort into Atelier Nikazuki. At that point, I think it's still Nikazuki knits. Small details. But at that point, I was still using North American fabrics. I think I had started to use some Japanese fabrics. Thing is that when I started making project bags, there were very few project bag makers in Alberta. By the time that 2015 came around, it had doubled or tripled. So it went from 3 of us to 7 more in that span of time, in about 3 years. So I looked at it and I went, okay, what can I do to actually make me more unique? Because we were all kind of buying from Fabricland, and then the people who did have unique stuff, it was like, I don't want to copy that, and it's not what interests me, because they were cool bags. They were just cool bags. And I went, okay, I think I need to lean into this Nekozuki, which is cat lover in Japanese, and we need to start, where it has cute cat fabrics. And I was like, well, duh, Japan's gonna have super cute cat fabrics. So I looked at it, and yeah, guess what? Japan has super cute cat fabrics. Who'd have thought, hey? And I started purchasing through an Etsy seller, all of that, and that was fine for a little bit, but it's expensive doing it that way. And so my husband and I, we went back for his first trip in 2016, and I went, hey, okay, we're going back now. We need to actually check to see how much it costs to purchase fabrics in Japan and see, is it more economical for me to go over and purchase them there myself and bring them back? And yeah, so it's about 40% cheaper even now, so 7 years later, for me to go back and actually purchase the fabrics in Japan. So it made the business actually sustainable, and just long-term sustainability, which is super important, of course. And it made me unique. It makes me stand out with all the other project bag makers, all of that. And so that's what we do. Originally, I went to Osaka and Kyoto and Tokyo. Now I only go to Kyoto and Tokyo, and that's because the shop in Osaka actually closed down. I think they closed down in about May of 2020. Feels like one of those situations of like they took the opportunity to get out, which can't blame them. Although it was my favorite story shop, and so I can still tell a story. But the shop was like, so it had to have been at probably about 5 floors. 3 floors of it were fabric, and you would go around and all the fabric is hanging down. So if you've seen my Nomura Taylor like shops, like shopping experiences, it was hanging down like that, but there were no bolts. It was just hanging fabric. And so you go around and I would look at all the fabric, and I would make my decisions about what fabrics I wanted, and then I'd flag down a salesperson. You take the salesperson around and you tell them what fabrics you would like, what colors you'd like prints, colors, and then how much you'd like of each one, obviously, as you went through. And they would take a clipping from the fabric and put it onto like an order sheet that they were writing everything down, and then they would send their copy up a pneumatic tube system to the cutting floors. So like that's why I say it's 5 floors and 3 floors of fabric, because I'm pretty sure that all the cutting was just on the 4th and 5th floor. And then you would get a copy of the cuttings, and in my case, the last time I went, they had it took them 5 to 7 hours to cut everything I wanted. So I left and we did something else. I think we actually went up and shopped Nomura that day, and then came back. I can't remember what we did. But anyway, we showed up with our bags and the fabric thumped down behind the cashier, and then we paid them and we put it in our suitcases and left. Definitely the most like unique shopping experience in Japan for fabric for me personally. Nomura, if you haven't had a chance to actually watch the videos. Oh, did I take? No, I didn't take that photos on the book yet. Nomura, they've got the bolts and the hanging samples and everything. So they prefer you obviously to shop from the hanging samples rather than touching the bolts all the time. That's part of it. And then you go around and you tell an employee what you want. Same idea as this place in Osaka. And then they go around and they actually pull all the bolts for you. So it's super cool. And actually I didn't actually record that this time. I will record it next time. Obviously I will be doing quite a bit of recording. I'm trying to figure out if I can do a live there or not. It's basically because they play copyrighted music, I don't know if it'll work. And I don't know if there's any way to get them to play something that's like out of copyright. Like maybe, I don't know, classical or something like that. But anyway, if I can make it work, I will make it work. If I can't, I will record everything and we will do a voiceover later. And that is part of what I will record or stream, is them pulling the bolts for you. So anyway, so you tell them what you want, and then you go up to the front counter for Nomura, and they bring all the bolts to you, and then you stand there and tell them what you want cut from each of them, basically. Nomura Taylor House, which is another branch of it, is more of a tradition, like North American style, or at least what I've encountered for North American fabrics, in that you can go around and you pick your bolts, take them up to the front desk, and they cut them for you. And then Tokyo is, so I go to Nippori Fabric Town in Tokyo, and there we go, the best like one hit shop, you only have so much time, is Tomato. It's 5 floors. I shop the 1st and the 4th floor because that's the cottons. The 5th floor does have the USA cotton and a lot of like accessory stuff, but obviously I'm not using USA cotton for good reasons. And so I shop the 4th and 5th floors because that's where the Japanese cottons are, and cotton linen blends and basically the quilt stuff, right? And there it's completely self-serve. So they actually have carts that you can like borrow, and you can fill the cart, and then you push this cart around and like fold up, and then you take it up to the cutting table and they do all the cutting for you. I'm pretty sure I made another foreigner's day when I was there last time, because I was like carting around one of these carts with my giant backpack on in Tomato, and she's like, wait, we can use the carts? And I'm like, yes, that's what they're for. And I just saw her light up. It was super awesome. Was that, I think that was May. I don't think that was November. It wasn't as busy in November. So, but yeah, it's definitely an experience. And the nice thing is, so the exchange all comes back to this because, of course, if I hadn't gone on exchange in Japan, I wouldn't be going to Japan for fabric because I wouldn't have had any experience with it, even if they had cute cat fabric or whatever. I keep saying this, and I do really need to do it, especially now that the school year started, but I need to email my exchange coordinator and tell her, like, hey, you'll never guess what the English student you sent on exchange to Japan is doing with her experience from Japan. I'm also trying to hatch some other ways that I might be able to use that experience, and I think I might have something. But it's something that takes a little bit more planning than I have been able to put into it right now. So I'm gonna tease you with that and keep the rest of the information under my hat, and I am sorry for that, but I am looking for other ways to expand being able to like share my love for Japan rather than just through fabrics, although obviously the fabrics are amazing. When I was there, I actually lived in international dorm, which was, I think, really good. They did have homestay options as well, but I decided that the first term, at least, I was going to stay in dorm because I was like, I feel like that's going to be more comfortable, and I think it was. I think it was a really good decision for me personally, for various reasons. But like some of my best friends came from staying in an international dorm as well, like people that I still visit in Japan. So that's always nice. There are loose threads on this. There we go. So yeah, I stayed there, and like we had an okasan and an otosan, so like basically a seminar house mom and dad. There were like RAs. It was really good. And if you're a student or you have a student in your life and like they think that they want to go abroad, hit me up with any questions. I am happy to help. Not just about Japan, just in general. Obviously, I can only do generalized for everywhere else. That's not working very well. There we go. That works. But typically it's like contact your Center for International Studies is the first step, and then they can definitely direct you in the right direction. If money is a concern, I did find that there was a lot of money available for study abroad. So there's always that. And honestly, it didn't cost me any more than I would have spent on dorm and like, oh, this one isn't finished. Okay, out of the pile. Yeah, but like compared to what I would have spent in Canada, really. So, well, okay, once I had all the like funding and everything that I got as well, obviously. So, but you never know what you're gonna do with the stuff or what you're gonna accomplish with your experiences, and this is definitely not where I saw this going. I didn't know where I saw that going, to be honest. I do know I went into it being like, okay, and I put a lot of effort into it for like, I made sure that I studied Japanese for a couple of years that before I went, and like all of that. And then like I went with the intention of seeing if I wanted to go back and do JET, which is the Japan English Teaching Program. I did decide on like exchange that wasn't in the cards at that point, and then it wasn't something that I ever revisited. I don't know if I would do it now. The honest truth is I wish I could go back and do my university career now. Like go back and be 18 to 22 and redo my university career with my experience that I have right now. I do wish that that's how it could go. Because I do think my answers to a lot of these questions would be vastly different than they were then. And that's fine. That's part of growing up. But I do think if I had the opportunity now, I would probably go back and do a JET program. But I don't know. I'm also enjoying this quite a bit. It's a nice way to like be involved in Japan without like living in Japan, which living as an expat has its advantages and disadvantages for sure. Just like and that's not just in Japan. All right, these are not actually bracelets. These are scrunchies. It's just they don't photograph very well if you just lay them flat. So I'm trying to fluff them out around my wrist so you get a general idea of what the print is. Obviously, they look better once they're actually on your hair. There's some really cute ones in here. These are scrap buster projects. So it's like a lot of fabrics where it's like, this is the last of it. But they are super cute. So like this one's the Peppy Budgies on an off-white, and they're just super bright and happy. Oh, they're so good. And then there's like little pom-poms. These weren't super popular as bags, but I really, 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 really like it in these little scrunchies. So like there's like a couple different ones of that one, and then like a couple different ones in a different tone. And then actually I do have one Halloween one as well if you're looking to jazz up your Halloween wardrobe. And because these will be up by the 14th, I'll be shipping out on Tuesday for any orders that I receive, and so it should be to you before Halloween. And obviously I'm not going to judge if you want to wear it the rest of the year, because it's a scrunchie, so you can't actually tell what it is unless you like really pull it apart even. But it is cute. And it's got cats on it, and little like Grim Reapers and pumpkins and all that. If you're looking for the Halloween one, it's the Halloween cards on bright green is what it'll go under. Again, these are all, so in a change that I need to do for the listings, all of these are going to be going under one like big listing of like scrunchie or grime guards or notions pouches, wristlets, triangle pouches, all of that. It's all going to be condensed down into one listing, and then all of these will be variants on that listing. In part, it's less admin. It should improve my SEO through Google, which is actually a concern right now because I need to get more organic traffic through the site. And then I can actually add product reviews, which is another big one that we're going to start doing as well. And so having these one giant listing is going to help be able to do the product reviews, because having individual listings that never get more than one quantity doesn't work, right? So yeah, I don't know if I'm opening myself up for awesomeness or disaster with reviews, but I do think it's starting to be very necessary, because you don't know what you're getting into. I don't like buying products unless I see reviews about them, so it's like, okay, I gotta figure out how to do this. And so these giant, like the big listings with all the variants, I think is going to be the solution, I hope. So alright, we're almost, we got one. Okay, I'm gonna count that as, actually those are so different, we're going to actually do two. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scrunchies, and then we'll do the grime guards that are left. And then I do think I'm going to call it quits before we tackle this pile of cake cozies, just so I'm not here all night. But I'll get the scrunchies done, and I'll get these couple of grime guards done, and we'll get the whatchamacallits, the wristlets, grime guards, and like the little things that are here right now done. There we go, that's a good one, maybe, hopefully. Birds, oh, there's thread there, that doesn't work. There we go. It's probably on another bag now. Alright, yeah, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Again, I'm happy to answer them. Helps direct my stream of consciousness. Because it's basically all this is. I have no script. There is no script. I just wing it and hope I don't say something stupid. Something I generally don't mean, or comes out sounding wrong in my head, or wrong. The translator app between my like head and my mouth sometimes doesn't work. It looks like my like wrist has tutus on it. So you know, you could use it as scrunchie or like dress up your wrists for Halloween. That's what I mean. But yeah. Okay, these ones are similar enough that we're going to list them as 2. Obviously variants, they're all going to be slightly different because they're cut from the same fabric but different areas, and because they're scraps, I'm basically just using as much as I can. Nice thing about scrunchies is that they are straight cuts, so I am able to do quite a bit from them for scrunchies. Flynn. Hey. Hey. He's like scratching the suitcase, so that's not cool. There's a bunch of threads poking out. Should have used the other one apparently. There. Okay, so that's not actually stitching thread, that was like just random threads that needed to be cleared up apparently. Could have taken scissors to them? Yes, but that means that they will stop poking out completely. Alright, there's that scrunchie. Okay, so we're going to do the grime guards. Grime guard, there's the hoop. I'm like, where'd the hoop go? So if you are, this is the first time encountering grime guards, they are for hand embroidery or cross stitch hoops. This is your cross stitch hoop or embroidery hoop, say. The ones that I'm photographing currently are good for an 8 to 9 inch hoop. They are being photographed on an 8-inch hoop because I, for the life of me, cannot find my 9-inch hoop. I think it's on a project. Do I know where that project is? No. Which is also annoying. But anyway, that's kind of besides the point. But they pop over so that when you're holding it, you're not like, you're not on your actual stitching fabric. So your stitching fabric stays cleaner, and then you can pop the grime guard off, throw it in the washing machine a lot easier than you can actually clean your embroidery fabric. And then in this case with this one, you can actually tuck all this extra fabric back in here so that it's even protected and you don't constantly touch it and make it dirty as well. So that's the general idea of a grime guard. It's kind of where the cake cozy idea came from as well. Same idea, just bigger. More fabric, I guess. So these are going to be the small, because the next size up fit the 8x11 grime guard frames and up to a 10-inch hoop, so that'll be what's counted as a medium. And then I will eventually introduce larger sizes as well, because obviously an 8x11 Q-snap frame or frame is not very large. So I'll make sure that we get some larger ones on as well. These are all serged, so there's no raw edges, and then there's elastic in it as well. I do suggest with all my products that you machine wash, cool, and then lay flat to dry. And in this case, you could throw it in the dryer, but I would still suggest throwing it to air dry because your elastic's going to last a lot longer if you air dry it versus machine drying it. However, all the fabrics are pre-shrunk, so there is no reason realistically you couldn't throw it in the dryer if you want it done ASAP. But in that situation, if you're doing like a lot of projects, or if you like do end up actually getting a lot of dirt on the grime guard, you can always get two. More cute fabric, right? So that's it. That's the idea for them. Oh, we still got a scrunchie. We got a sushi scrunchie. I was like, what's next? But we'll do the sushi scrunchie first. That just looks like a crumpled pile of fabric. Whoops. Alright, so apparently that is definitely going to be a wrist photo one. That's what we'll put as the highlighted image for this variant. Jeez. Oh yeah, that looks better. I'll show you the pile of fabric because I don't know if that's actually going to make it onto the listing or not. Okay, there's the scrunchie. It's done. Anyway, that's what the pile of fabric looks like. It doesn't look like anything versus like actually being able to see it on the wrist. Now, I'm not going to try them on because I personally find that off-putting. So they will remain wrist scrunchies, which I think probably demonstrates it the best because I can't imagine trying to take a photo of the back of my head anyway. It would be difficult, and no one else in the house has long enough hair to do it. So alright, we're going to do the Nirvana row counters. I don't know how this is going to photograph because of the little plastic on it, but that looks like it's going to work. If I do like an angled shot, and maybe I will lift them up. I never know if it's like okay to have my hands in photos or not, but you know, in this case, we're going to go with it. And we'll get the different colors. So these are going to be in the packs of 3. There is a very limited amount of them. There's only like 5 of them, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I was wrong. There's 4 of them. Oh, 5 of them. There it is. But they really easily fit into like the notions pouches. So you can like throw a row counter in. They are not the sturdiest, but they're nice and light actually, and you could throw these on the bulb pins, which would be the easiest way to do it. So if you get some of the little rubber ducky bulb pin stitch markers, you can actually just hook it through the bulb pin through like one of the grommets on the ends of these guys and like hook it to your actual zipper on your project bag or right onto the project. And so it'll be really lightweight to do that with. Rundown on these guys. So I will be photographing the stitch markers, not tonight. There's too many of them and they're just, I still haven't decided how I'm going to photograph them. I should just lay them out on like a piece of knitting or something like that. That's probably going to be the best way. Anyway, what I was going to talk about is that you're going to have a couple options with these guys. So these will flat pack and you can letter mail them, but you will not receive the bottle if you choose letter mail. Now this only applies within Canada. I cannot letter mail to the States because of customs. It has to be sent with customs forms because it's the sale. But if you want, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you the option of choosing the bottle. Basically what I'll do is that the listing then will include, like, the cost of the bottle will be shipping. Because unfortunately what ends up happening is that these can't be sent in like a little padded envelope because it'll just crush. So if you want to have the little bottle with it, it's going to put the price up by $15. Like simply because I'll need to pack this in like a little box with a bunch of bubble wrap and everything like that. It sucks, but it's the reality of it. If you just want to get the like stitch markers, I'll take them. So if you select stitch markers, I'll make it clear that you're not getting the bottle. You'll get these on like a nice card and they'll be flat packed and then they can just go in a bubble mailer and then they won't get broken on the way to you, hopefully. Because these are glass beads. So the bubble mailer should actually work. But yeah, got nice little details. This one is like a tassel set. So they're nice and light and they're good for crochet or knitting because they're on bulb pins. And like I said, super light weight. You get one special one and then you get 5 like beaded stitch markers no matter what set you buy. In the case of the rubber duckies, you'll get 5 rubber duckies. But yeah, so that's basically how it's going to have to work because this will have to be packed properly so it doesn't break. But if you choose flat pack, then yeah, you'll just get that. So there's a little like, oh, that's actually really cool with the light behind it. Little lamp work guys, and then the colors I picked up in it are the little green and white flowers. So yeah, I gotta actually figure out how I'm gonna photograph them. I guess I could lay them out on the canvas pouch. That would actually look good as well. So, but they are super handy little like containers, so they'll be up for offer just in a different fashion. Because I don't want to force you to have to pay shipping at that cost. If you don't have to or don't want to. Alright, we're gonna do the wristlets. And then I'm gonna head out. I feel like that is a good place to stop tonight. Because then tomorrow it'll be cake cozies and stitch markers and photo editing to actually get these listings up. So we got popcorn cats on pink. Again, so what ended up happening is these are little key fob hardware. You've got a split ring and then you've got a lobster claw, because I was really looking at it and I'm like, the split ring is useful, but the lobster claw makes it more useful for just like hooking it right onto your keys and like quick on and off. However, I like the size of these and like the brightness of them and the feel of them, because then you end up being able to, like, it's easier to see in your purse or bag or whatever you're using. So we've got a bunch of options of these. Again, it'll be one big listing just because that's how it's going to work the best, I think, for everyone. As discussed. Now these are hard to photograph. I wonder actually if I should put them on the stand and like hang them by the split ring. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. The problem is that they're scrapped, so even with the like interfacing in them, they're kind of twisty. They're like very twisty. Oh, so I can turn them this way. There we go. That's better than laying them on the actual thing, because now they'll display the fabrics the best. Okay, I'll show you what I'm doing in one moment here once I actually get a photo and it stops moving. Oops. Stopping the moving, please. Will be nice. There we go. Okay, and then I'll take a photo of the hardware down here so that that's obvious what you're getting. Okay, that can be cropped out. Photograph it this way because it's shinier. So basically what it'll look like, because otherwise it's saying it doesn't sit flat, is this is what it'll look like. Obviously I'll crop it down and everything like that, but that's just what's going to work, I think, for the majority of these. Although now, of course, it's laying flat. Okay, so let's take a couple photos. Maybe, maybe not. Let's do it from back here. There we go. And I think the rest of that can be cropped out. Sweet. Okay, so maybe we'll take that out of there. Maybe we don't need it. There we go. Alright, I'm going to show you both, and then let me know what you think is actually more appealing. Obviously, once you crop it down and everything like that. So this is it laying flat, and then so you can see the hardware and everything like that. And basically, I would crop it down so that you don't see any of the back. It's just going to be like a white background. So there's this one, and then the other option was the hanging one. But you can't see all the hardware. I don't know. Looking at it now, I think the lay flat one is better. But let me know what you think in the chat, because that is, like, personally me looking at it, I like the lay flat better. I think the lay flat's, I don't know. Should have maybe set these under, what I'll do next time when I iron them is I'll make sure that they get underneath a, or once they get stitched or something like that, I'll set them under something that's going to flatten them. Okay. I'm not missing a bunch of chat or something, am I? Okay, good. I was like, wait, is my Streamlabs not, like, streaming the chat? Because that would be annoying. Yeah, I think we're just going to go flatly. So if I cut that down, here I'm going to cut down the coffee bean one that I just did. Brighten it up a little bit because, hello, it is not bright. Turn my brightness all the way up so I can see. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. So that's a flat lay photo, edited down. And obviously my screen is brightening it up for the camera. But I think that's what will work the best, because then you can just at a glance tell what it is without it, like, hanging it up doesn't make a lot of sense. It makes sense in like show displays, but it doesn't really make sense in like product photos, I guess, is what it is. Although, so I went to Michael's and I got a very specific little hanger thing because I was so excited about it. So I like displaying necklaces and little dangly things and all of that. And tried it out at Knit City. And it was horrible. It was imbalanced. As soon as you pulled anything off the back, if it wasn't balanced, it didn't actually stay up. It kept falling over. The price sign kept falling off of it. It was a nightmare. So I gotta figure out a new way to display these wristlets that's like appealing. Now there are obviously actual display pieces for the wristlets at like WR Display or something like that. But the problem is that they are more than I wish to spend right now. I'm gonna take a close up of that one because Matryoshka cats aren't quite visible from further back, but they are Matryoshka cats. Matryoshka? I always say Matryoshka, but now I'm like, is it Matryoshka? I don't know. Anyway, so I gotta figure out a way to display these. Earlier this year, I bought like the Scatus pegboard for them, and that's not really the solution. It's kind of like, I don't know what to do. I really like the rainbow hardware on this, like, oh, you can actually see it back here better for the bulldogs. Yeah, so I think I do think I just need to get like a tabletop spinner that's actually like balanced well, because it's, yeah, there's a reason why it's more expensive, and that's because it works. At least this like Scatus, the pegboard, I can sell on if I really want. It's just nice because it's got like legs, so I could do it on in various like table setups and stuff like that. But I don't know. It needed more elevation, and I haven't figured out how to how I want to elevate it yet. Maybe what I should do is I should get like a wood crate, put it on the wood crate, and then put bags underneath the wood crate or something like that. Except then my worry is that it would tilt over and potentially hurt someone. So I think we're just back to square one of I need a little tabletop spinner that is not a flimsy Michaels one. Little bunnies. I do have new hardware colors as well, so this is like a matte black, which is really nice. Apparently I need to trim down the threads there. I can do that afterwards. They didn't show up in the photo. This one I'm super proud of because like the cats are so well lined up on both back and front. So that's super exciting. Alright, just about that. This one also is fun because I ended up being able to maintain the selvage, and so you actually get the majority of the made in Japan, and I think the rest of it's on the interior. Yeah, mostly it's in the interior. At least the rest of Japan is. More threads. It's also just a fun one because it's like super neon dots with like clouds. Just fun. But yeah, definitely that selvage. I was like, I hope I can keep this if I'm like super tight on my stitching and super tight on like where this hardware actually gets placed. We're gonna be golden to keep that, and that's exactly what happened. This is one of the OG fabrics from my 2016 trip. Little owls on red. It's been super popular throughout the years, and now we're down to like the absolute dregs of it. At least these are helping clear up some of my scrap bins. It's still good fabric. I don't want to like, yeah. It's like certain cuts. It's like I've got cuts I get rid of because it's just like, what am I actually ever going to use this for? But it's like a lot of these strips that are like just not quite big enough for a notions pouch, or just not quite big enough for a needle stasher. It's like they've just been lounging around, waiting to see what I come up with for them, and wristlets was actually a good solution, especially with these. I like this key fob hardware. I was making wristlets with just lobster clasps, but then you needed extra length to be able to do the little like wraparound for it, and these just finish these off nicer and easier, to be honest. So I'm able to actually work with less fabric or more fabric into the length of it. So you will notice that they're not all the same length. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller because they're scrap projects. So, I guess, oh, curses. I guess I should actually measure them then. And then I can put their length in the, like, listing, I guess. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. How am I going to communicate that in this, like, wristlet listing? But I'll put it in the title, so it'll be like how long is this cat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Yeah, I'm gonna say 7 because I'm not gonna include the actual key fob length, and that's like about a 1/2 inch, and so it's a 7-inch wristlet. I don't know why the stirring worked. Why did you stir your wristlet? Who knows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 8.5. So it'll be like an 8.5 crab wristlet. Crabs wristlet. That's how we'll do that. Did I photograph this one already? Yes. Oh, it looked like it was going to be better. No, it's not going to be. Okay. Fuji. So yeah, like Fuji is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 7.5. Though I guess I should actually include the little key fob doohickey as well. And in some ways. Okay, I'll think on that in the next couple days, because like these will be, well, I'll sleep on it and I'll figure it out tomorrow. I'll measure them, because otherwise that's going to be confusing, because there's no scale in this studio of like the photo studio of how big any of this is. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I am going to wrap up after I get the last 6 of these done. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you have any questions, you can definitely throw them in the comments, or you can, like, because this will be posting, or you can message me on Instagram or through the website as well. All of this that you've seen so far tonight will be posted, except for the wallets and the purses, because again, I'm going to take a little bit more time with them. This one with the rainbow hardware. So good. Yeah, the rest of this stock, so all the cotton and cotton linen stock, all the new fabric stock, except for the wallet, is going to be in the web store, on the website. There we go. That's what I was actually going for. On the website on October 14th, 2023. And then the purses will be following at some point very rapidly after that. I just want to take some more time with their photos. Time and care. Obviously, I'm taking time and care with these as well, but it's not the same. They need some different time and care. Mostly because they need to be hung on a mannequin, so you actually know, like, there's some visual representation of them being purses and wallets and all of that. So I guess if I'm offering these, I should actually start putting some tiny D-rings on the necessary clutch wallets. So that you could make them little wristlets if you really wanted to. Alright. I don't want you to make everything blurry on the edges. Thank you. Last one. So this is actually upcycled obi here, or hari, which is the jacket that goes over the kimono as a protectant. And I had a strip of it left after I was doing the purses and wallets, so that's where this is from. And that'll be, I'll put that in the variant title as well, of like upcycled hari. These need to all go under a brick. I'll remember that when after I've sewed them the next time. Put them under something so that they like, ugh. That's a bit better, but not much. Okay, these might end up having to be retaken, but at least they're all done at this point, and I can go in and edit them and see if I need to retake them or not. So, thank you so much for everyone who joined tonight. That was a lot of people in and out, I saw. I am going to be I am out of practice. I'm going to start streaming more regularly again, especially when Dallas is home to help take care of the kiddos. I will be debating if I'm going to do a live stream on Saturday or not. I gotta look at my schedule, and I will make a post on Instagram, and I'll probably put a post on YouTube, along with like a coming soon sort of premiere thing on there. What will we be doing next? I think the next thing we'll be doing is some bookmarks, and maybe the canvas pouches from Noodle Head, because I do have some like broader markets coming up that I want to make sure I have products for. So that's kind of what's on the agenda. I also have some work coming up with Ancient Arts Yarns, and so I'm going to find out exactly how we want to go about that one, but I am excited for it. So hope you guys all have a fantastic night. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to view more content, please subscribe, like, and share this video. Or you can go in and you can actually watch what's currently on the site. There is a full shop preview, not just what you just saw tonight, as well as a pick your own preview. And what else did I do? Oh yeah, I did like a video of actually sewing one of those Noodle Head pouches. So if you have any questions on any of those, please throw them in the comments, and I will chat with y'all very soon. Have a good night.